So I talked about reimagining screen time as beneficial. I think this particular slide is important to this, as I talk about it, take a look at the words on the screen, because this is that not either or kind of thing. We really do know from research and from practice that active engagement with technology is much better, much preferred to passive or sedentary viewing, just of like the TV screen. We now have these interactive medias. We want it to be interactive, but not isolated. And in that case, the word interactive has to do with interacting with other people. And look at some of the slides or images that I've chosen for this slide. That it's inclusive, not exclusive, that it's all in, everybody gets to use it. If it's valuable for children's learning, it has to be valuable for every child. It's about enhancement, not displacement. And this was one that came up a lot in the process, where early educators were pushing back at us because they were afraid that if you introduced a tablet computer into the classroom, something else would have to go out. Or that would be the end of imaginative play, because it would all, be screen-based. Certainly not what has happened, and certainly not that either or kind of thinking. But a good reminder that really we're bringing to, when we integrate technology, is to enhance, not to displace. Meaning making versus meaningless. So giving kids tools to make meaning out of their world, not just meaningless time spent staring at a screen. Creation, not just consumption. I'm going to come back to that as a really important sweet spot in this thinking these days, but getting kids to be media creators is really powerful. Giving them tools for learning, and they're tools for your teaching as well. But you see the highlighted words that I gave you there are tools for learning. I think the best examples of technology integration are when children have control of the technology, are making choices, and are using them to do their own learning, to guide their own learning. And then again, this reminder that these have been lifelines for us for social and emotional connections, not disconnections. We've used technology to connect, not disconnect. And that disconnect concern came up a lot as well, as people were afraid that technology would get in the way. We've got an emerging consensus in the field on what matters most. We know, and I've been saying it to you already, what you know about child development theory and developmentally appropriate practice and how children learn, that's a critical element of all of this. We think the whole child and technology across all domains of development is important. But we also think that social emotional learning, which we're all understanding right now more than ever, is so critical as we've been disconnected physically from each other, that kids really need opportunities to connect and to understand the social and emotional aspects of their learning. Relationships are there, of course, as well. Early childhood and elementary essentials. What are those things that happen in your classroom every day, with or without technology, that you consider absolutely non-negotiable? They are still non-negotiable today. Creating, making, storytelling. Teacher education, how we prepare future teachers. You've been through that. You've come out the other side of that process, but we have younger teachers underway, and then ongoing professional development for you. We need to make sure in that whole continuum that we're infusing these new ideas and new technologies, and putting these technologies in your hand with some opportunities to mess around and play a little bit yourself. Family engagement and how these tools can be used to enhance family engagement has become a big, big deal. And again, back to media mentors. So, there's our little list of what we actually do agree in the field on this. There's not a lot of pushback on these things. These are the things that we have learned since 2012 really hold true. The whole child matters, and again, the domains of development. And again, look at the images that I've chosen here. In each case, there's just one tablet and multiple kids, maybe a teacher, maybe not a teacher, maybe an adult, but all the kids around one screen. And so that notion, again, of the social and emotional context in which kids use technology is so important. And there's certainly valid times when everybody's got their own screen, but I'm really compelled by these images and how they suggest this relationship and this joint engagement. So back to this notion of essentials. Here's Chip's list. Here's what if you asked me what's essential to you in the early years, for the youngest children that we're talking about today, I would have this list: solitary and shared experiences, interactions, relationships, creativity, curiosity, and wonder. You don't get to displace that when you bring technology in. Inquiry, open-ended exploration and discovery, tools for learning. Boy, technology can really hit that nicely. Unstructured, active, imaginative play. Play does not end in the digital age. Play goes on. Play will always go on. Can technology support it? hands-on learning, loose parts, outdoor play in nature. You know, these are my sense of what's non-negotiable. These things have to happen whether there's technology around or not. And then if there is technology around, then I want it to enhance, not displace or replace any of these things I consider most essential. So that's going to give you a chance to pause again. I want you to take a few minutes to think about how your knowledge of child development and developmentally appropriate practice inform your tech integration. I want you to make a quick list of your early childhood elementary essentials. What are those non-tech experiences you consider most important, most critical, non-negotiable for the children in your classroom? You may not have time right now to really dig into that list very deeply, but I would make the list and then set it aside and come back to it sometime. I think it's very helpful to think through what you absolutely consider the most essential aspects of children's experience when they're with you in the classroom or remotely. I'll give you a minute to think about that.